Welcome, traveler. Do you like vintage horror movies and punk rock?
Yeah!
Do you wish to write a Halloween novelty song with rough energy?
Monster Smash!
Do you ever wonder what Dead Kennedys would have sounded like if it was fronted by Boris Karloff?
Every day!
Well, ghouls, gals, and vampire pals, let me tell you a story. A story called How to Make Horror Punk.
Whoa!
Horror punk is a subgenre of punk rock where the lyrics and the themes are usually based on horror movies. Naturally. It's exactly what happened when a punk rocker binges late-night TV horror movie marathons and thinks to themselves,
Man, this movie sucks.
let's write a song about it! Yeah!
Critters 4 fucking sucks! Run in the back of a garbage truck!
You can almost think of horror punk as a heavier alternative to the old Halloween-themed novelty songs like The Monster Mash, Witch's Brew, and Dinner with Drac. Seriously, just give Bobby Boris Pickett a front spot in the Ramones and you got horror punk.
They did the Blitzkrieg Bomb! It was a graveyard snob.
The band that is seen as the goth fathers of horror punk is of course the Misfits. The band drew plenty of lyrical inspiration from old B-movies, including using a mascot from the movie The Crimson Ghost. Misfits draws musically from doo-wop, heavy metal, and punk. Those short and catchy songs must have caught everyone's imagination, cause after the Misfits, we got a horde of copycats taking the horror punk genre into a full movement. It's like all the slasher movie sequels you didn't bother to keep watching. The genre didn't get its name until Fiend Force Records released a compilation CD called This Is Horror Punk. I mean, you gotta love the naming of this thing. Like, what's the combination here? Horror and punk. Let's call it horror punk. Genius marketing. The compilation also included some of the more well-known horror punk bands that are still around today, like Blitzkids, Necromantics, Ghoultown, Blood-Sucking Zombies from Outer Space, Mad Sin, and the others. You know, the band The Others, unlike the others. Horror punk, unlike regular punk, and a similar genre death rock, is a lot more melodic and also takes elements from 50s doo-wop and rockabilly. Death rock is much more raw and atmospheric, while horror punk is more aggressive and melodic. Sometimes with the addition of a rockabilly vibe and novelty cheese. So put on your horror movie t-shirts, slick by hairstyle or mohawk, and your jacket, cause we're gonna howl at the moon at Frankenstein's castle, do the Transylvanian twins with Dracula, and rock out with our zombie crew like Halloween never ended.
It never did.
Never?
Halloween's every day.
Yeah! First things first, get yourself an open-roofed car and drive to the nearest driving theater to watch the latest horror flick. No, they don't do that anymore. Well, you can always just buy a multi-pack DVD/Blu-ray compilation containing old horror films. I'm slightly addicted. This way you can easily binge and get plenty of inspiration for lyrics and music ideas. But if you're too lazy to collect movies, then here's a handy-dandy guide for the horror eras. Pagefire presents A Brief Guide to Horror Movies. Horror movies are movies that horrify you. Theoretically. Since the dawn of cinema, there weren't that many movies. It was mostly just a bunch of camera-making nerds arguing about who made the camera first. But while these camera nerds were arguing, they also made a couple of short movies, like Edison's Frankenstein, which is mostly him just filming a theater play. Yes, Edison, this is exactly what Mary Shelley had in mind when it came to the mad scientists making humans and becoming God. Boil them in a stew.
Howdy.
But then we finally got the studio system and the birth of the silent horror movies, aka movies with no sound, no dialogue, and no music. But even without music and dialogue, the silent movies still have this haunting presence over it. So it's all about the visuals and how it looks and makes you feel. 30s and 40s is the rise of our classic horror monsters, like Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, Wolfman, and Buzz.
Ha! Bus!
But even though these movies are getting close to 100 years old, they're still great and fun to watch. Like, I love the atmosphere and the look of everything. It's so retro and gothy. But even then, it doesn't hurt to make fun of it a little bit.
Where the rats?
So if you're a coward, you can easily get into these movies. Moving right along, the 50s and 60s had plenty of alien invasion films and giant monster movies. This is the birth of Godzilla, Alien, Skeleton, Science, again, and the first wave of serious horror reboots, all equally big monsters. This era also is a lot more, maybe we are the monsters and our actions have consequences. For example, Godzilla, maybe we shouldn't bomb civilians. House on Haunted Hill, my family are a bunch of dicks. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Ah, Red Scare! And that scared us to the 70s and the 80s, also known as the slasher and body horror era. Cause now we can do fancy effects and the horrors came from your location, like a suburban neighborhood, camps, beaches, hillbillies, and even your dreams. But because people were obsessed with serial killers, we had to give our monsters exaggerated personalities. Isn't that right, Freddy, Leprechaun, Reagan, Pinhead, and Chucky? All these characters' franchises spawned a sequel bonanza, and they were not shy of going weird, which is why I like them.
I'm the Lord of the Harvest.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
A friend with weed is a friend indeed.
Why are you scared of these movies again?
I come from the land of the Irish Spring.
And now we've gotten to the 21st century horror movies. Now we're ending up getting more realistic horror films and focusing more on human relationship with horror. You know, being a mom, being in a weird family, ghosts, communities, old people, the internet. Am I forgetting something? Oh yeah, torture porn, yeah. I can't believe that was popular at some point. And of course, reboots. Endless pits of soulless reboots. That wasn't scary. Just sad. I hope this quick handy-dandy guide helps you pick an era to focus on in your horror punk music. Then if you want more, you can go on a journey through recommended similar films and discover some unknown original gems yourself. If blood-sucking zombies from outer space can make a banger out of a mediocre werewolf movie, then so can you! Either way, with all that inspiration, you'll also have plenty of movie footage to splice into your music video. If you're unsure of copyright, see if it's in the public domain. That's usually a secure way to see if you can use it without getting in trouble. I mean, it's not like some dead movie studio with no lawyers gonna break into your house and yell infringement on copyright when your horror punk band sells more than 20 vinyl presses. Ooh, I wonder who that could be.
Hello, I'm Florence Stoker. Where's my royalty check?
You can also find a way to incorporate the movie's aesthetic into your album covers and merch. Most movie posters have a very basic color use like red, black, yellow, monochromatic colors. So take a photo of your band and filter it a bit, a drawing of a monster or a horror scene, or if you're lazy, you can take a movie screenshot from a public domain horror film, filter it, and slap your band logo on it. It works for Blitz Kid.
Don't tempt me, buddy.
Band name. You can always name yourself after a horror movie, actor, character, or a book if you're a nerd.
Aww.
Get creative! Feel free to find a way to cram the words from outer space into your band name or song title, cause that's not done to death. Oh no! It's horrible! It's horrendous! It's flying towards us! It's humans from outer space! Hey.
Can anyone get me down?
For clothes, just put on some zombie or skeleton makeup and dress in black. Maybe wear a leather jacket and that rockabilly hairstyle. Or get the Misfit hairstyle, also called the devil lock. Cause nothing distracts your audience like a limp mohawk that needs Viagra. But what's most important about the clothing is that it's black and has a spooky skeleton on it somewhere. Whatever you choose, make sure it's scary and fits the motive of the band. Okay everyone, it's time to pick our band theme. I think we all should be undead, so I'm gonna be a zombie, naturally. Andreas, what you gonna be?
I figured vampire, that's...
Are vampires undead?
Listen, you little shit, there is so much fiction that is based around the undead. Vampires are buried and get out there. Do you think that people
Okay. Martin, what you gonna be? Very bold statement, and I like your style. Annalena, what you gonna be?
I'm a zombie.
No, I'm a zombie.
No, I am a zombie.
Speaking of nicknames, fun fact, Jerry Only, the bassist of Misfits, has a fun story with his nickname. He got mad that his real name got misspelled on Misfits' first single, so he said, "Credit me as Jerry, only Jerry, Jerry Only." Well, he got his wish.
Jerry, huh? You got it. Jerry only.
Additional fun fact, Danzig, or Fonzig as the UK likes to call him, is very secretive on what his nickname actually means, even going so far as to say it's a family secret. Or maybe he just doesn't want to admit he got it from a bird. Danzig the ornithologist. Okay, children of the night, now to learn what music we make. It's essentially just punk rock, but a lot more melodic and spooky. So let's start with a chord progression. It's punk, so you're only gonna need like 3 or 4 chords to build your song around it. First, there's the standard 4 chord progression. In major, minor, but of course feel free to swap, oversimplify, or minimalize them as you please. There's also the 50s doo-wop chord progression. It's very basic, but a lot of horror punk bands use this, including Hybrid Moments by Misfits. For scales, you're probably only gonna need the basic major and minor scale so you can make your own horror theme. Remember to throw in a tritone and chromatics here and there. Guitars! Use plenty of overdrive that's so fuzzy that it makes the Wolfman jealous. You want the tone to sit somewhere between a tight metal tone and an overdriven punk tone. Play plenty of power chords and occasionally some lead melodies. Just remember that you're a punk band, so you have to play faster than the speed of bird puppets.
Sir, there's a giant bird attacking our plane!
Prepare the extra large grill. Tonight we dine as kings.
You can also use a clean tone for those 50s monster ballad vibes, and it fits perfectly with the doo-wop chord progression.
Puppet Master, why did I buy you?
Bass, the scariest one. Turn up the gain and make a scary face. You'll be staying on the root note, so just have fun. But if you got more skills in your fingers, you could always pick up a double bass to make the song more reminiscent of psychobilly. Just look at Coughing Cats and Necromantics for inspiration. Drums! D-beat, metal beat, punk beat, all the beats! Hit harder than Robot Monsters hit the bottom of the box office. You can always do the classic boom ba dum ba da boom ba dum ba da. Or the basic punk boom ba boom ba boom ba boom ba. Or to vary it up a bit, you can add that surf rock groove, you know, boom ba 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 bum boom ba bum ba bum with like 2 snares there. Vocals! I'm gonna stop now. There are a few vocal styles you can use. I call them regular punk, shouty vocals, and drunk Elvis. Regular punk vocals is just that, sing with a lot of intensity. Shouty vocals are less controlled but does wonders to add more energy to the song. Drunk Elvis is the dancing impersonation. It's kind of a funny rockabilly voice, but louder. First, you have to kind of do a very average Elvis impersonation. You kind of have to, go down to Texas, do some barbecue and chili, and then you take the Elvis impersonation and you gotta put that an octave higher, and then you got how most horror punk songs sounds. Whoa! I got something to say. Also, do you hear this? Whoa! That's called non-lexical singing. It's basically when a band uses nonsense to sing a melody or vocal line. It's the same as going na 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 or la di da. Use that to pump up your horror punk backing track. Optionally, you can throw in a spooky synth that kinda sounds like a theremin or any John Carpenter film.
Space. It is, as we British say, bloody scary. It contains things none of us may ever fathom, such a... Whitney Houston, we have a problem.
Now that we've binged enough horror movies and written down some neat 3-chord progressions, it's time to howl into the microphone and record your horror delights. Set your BPM somewhere between 130 and 170. Typical punk tempo. Well, I actually put mine at 185, but that's because punk is about breaking the rules and I'm not a conformist, you fucking posers! Load up your drum union and hope it's not cursed or anything. Oh, for fuck! Plump down your notes and start recording your guitar. Make sure to leave in a few mistakes the same way Ed Wood left a few tombstones knocked over. The drums need to be fast and aggressive, never calm, so use plenty of hi-hats and rides. Reserve the crash for hits. Bass can exist. Or can it? If you want to add some extra stuff, maybe add a simple sci-fi synth to add some extra spookiness. Then sample whatever horror movie you think you can get away with.
There you are.
The Earth people who can think are so frightened by those who cannot. The dead.
Lay the vocals down. Any typical punk vocals. As for the non-lexical whoa-ho parts, just get a bunch of friends into a room and have them record their whoa-hos. Make sure to have an unnecessary amount of layers to make the mixing engineer's job even more of a hellfire. And now you got a horror punk song! Now dress up with your demo in hand and go trick-or-treating from studio to studio hoping to get published. At least you can make a little silly B-movie music video. That's always fun.
Also, don't tell my mom I'm lip-syncing. It's kinda embarrassing.
You know, the Earth people who can think are so frightened by those who cannot. The dead.
UFO descended from
Congratulations! It's All Hallows Eve and all the record labels may have rejected you, but this is your night, goddammit! Someday, someone will want your mixtape.
Trick or treat.
I can give you my mixtape.
We don't want your music. We want answers.
That's him, officer. That's the man who infringed on my copyright.
And that is the story of how to make horror punk. A story which will teach us all to not mess with the vengeful spirit of Florence Stoker. A vengeful spirit.
What are you doing in my house?
I am telling the story of how to make horror punk.
And you just need a place to crash again, don't you?
I sensed your couch was available.
Beat it, nerd!
I know when I'm not wanted.
How dare you now? The end!